Okay, so here I am. Today I'm going to present you how to set up a preventative maintenance visit and how not to miss it. So that's the topic that I'm going to speak today. A little bit about me. I'm D365 field service and PSA consultant. So I've implemented several mid and large size field service automation projects worldwide in telecom industry and consumer electronics, manufacturing and service and HVAC, and also PSA projects in a project service organizations. So it's a pretty exciting, to work with all these industries to provide field service and project service automation solution. So please take down my email ID and my LinkedIn. I'm pretty active in LinkedIn. So any questions, you can check with me in LinkedIn. Okay. All right. So today we're going to cover about the preventative maintenance and how to set up and how to schedule it, how not to miss it. So that's the topic here today. So before we get into it, and wanted to spend a few minutes to talk about what is preventative maintenance. So it's preventative or preventive. So some people call as preventive, some calls it as preventative. So this is a service, that needs to be performed periodically to an equipment or assets that's running currently to reduce the likelihood of failure and extend the useful life of the assets. So typical examples are inspect and replace worn component before they fail, in a huge equipment or a mission that's running in a manufacturing industry, or maybe at a consumer place like an elevator, escalator, and things like that. And gotta go and frequently check how it is and inspect and lubricant, all the moving parts. Periodically go check any oil leaks, dirt and grease buildup, and clean and replace parts, etc. So that's on the equipment and asset side. So there's also applicable to other industries such as telecommunications, where people have to periodically visit the cell phone tower and the other areas where there's a telecom equipments are installed, and they got to go periodically check the cables and make sure it's all there. And the tower, it's any bent steel due to the temperature, and replace those bulbs and antennas and things like that. And also, on the the service side, professional service side, so the pest control visits to home and commercial buildings, and also a lawnmower visiting your home, once in 2 weeks to make sure that your lawn is cut, and also all the fertilizers are put in place. So these are some of the common examples of preventive maintenance, just to make sure that things are running without any issues, and like I said, to extend the useful life of assets. Now, the frequency of the visits could vary from the type of the work order and in the industry that this is being used. So it could be as frequently as weekly or monthly or quarterly or yearly, or it could be completely custom generated. Before the summer season starts, make sure the AC is checked and running, and or maybe before the winter season starts. Make sure the heating equipments are properly running and things like that. So that's the introduction to preventive maintenance. Now, to set this, we need to set up a preventive maintenance agreement, in the system to set up the work order schedule and things like that, and along with other details. So in D365, we'll be setting up a PM preventative maintenance agreement that allows the organization to automatically generate the work order. Let's say if you wanted to go visit monthly, and you cannot be creating work order every single month, right? So, you got to be setting up in one place, start date and end date, and my frequency is monthly, and boom, generate the work orders automatically, and assign those work orders to the technician, who needs to go visit. So different ways in which we can configure PM agreement is, we can set up monthly inspection work orders that the dispatchers can pick up those work orders once it's created and manually schedule, use in the schedule board using a schedule assistant, or or we can create the PM agreement can create the work order, and RSO can be configured to pick up those work orders and automatically schedule. So there's no human intervention in the system. So work order is created and make sure that it's scheduled and assigned. And for some reason, if technician is not completing the work, it can be reassigned to another technician, or it could be rescheduled to another date. Okay, and then like I said, again, it could be set up for weekly, monthly, or it could be a single work order, to cover a customer asset at a customer location, multiple customer assets, or it could be a single asset. So any combinations, in which we can configure. So that's the next thing that I want to show in the system, how to configure these agreements to take care of, to create these work orders, and how to schedule and make sure that those are not missed. Okay. So as part of the PM agreement, we also need to send an invoice to the customer. So we can also configure in the system to create those invoices to be sent to the customer. So there are situations where you would like to visit your customer's place on a monthly basis, but customer does not like to receive the invoice on a monthly basis. So it could be like a one-time at the beginning of the agreement sign up, or it could be a quarterly invoices, or it could be a semi-annual invoices, totally not related to the work order, or it could be at the same frequency as the work order in which we can generate. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the system. All right. So logged into field service. In the service area, we have entity called agreements. So this is where I set up the preventative maintenance agreement here. I will just quickly walk through how to set up an agreement, how to set up the frequency, work order frequency, and the billing frequency. Okay. All right, click on the new. System automatically creates the agreement number. I choose the service account. I'm going to choose Adventure Works as my service account. Now, there are two different accounts that we can choose here, service account and the billing account. Service account contains the site address where the technician needs to go and visit the customer location. And billing account could be the same as service account, or it could be a different address. Let's say in a huge corporate office, which has multiple branches throughout the United States, but all their invoicing need to be sent to one central location. So in that case, we can choose an account that is set up as a central location. In this case, okay. And then need to choose a price list that is attached with it. Price list contains all the products and their sale price, margin, setups, and all those. I'm not going to go into those details because I want to focus more on how to do the agreement booking setup here. Okay, I'm going to choose no. So the duration, when do we start the agreement? Okay, so I'm going to choose today is my start date, and my agreement is signed for a year. So I'm going to choose until August 14th. So that's about 365 days. I'm going to set up this agreement. Okay, save this. Let's go to the next stage. So this is where I can create the agreement booking setup. Click on the create here. So first thing, I want to set up a monthly visit. Okay. So then we have auto generate work order option here. So what it does is, once we set up, it automatically generates the work order before X number of days that we're going to put up here. So I'm going to choose 1 day in advance, or typically this is used like 15 days in advance. So they can get this work order created before it's due for the month. So then people will have enough time to make sure that it's scheduled and assigned to a right technician. So then the work order type, I'm going to choose an inspection here. And then the priority of this work order. So you can choose between high, medium, and low. So typically, preventative maintenance work order, I recommend to choose medium. The reason is if there is any breakdown or any service request that comes up along the way, those work order gets prioritized as high. And once we configure the RSO or automatic scheduling, people the engine picks up all the high priority work orders, so that gets priority in terms of scheduling. And also during manual scheduling, when a dispatcher looks at the work order to schedule, so they can prioritize, between a break fix work order and preventative maintenance work order. Obviously, we're doing this as a preventative maintenance, so this can wait when compared to the other critical type work order. Okay. Auto generate booking. I'm going to generate the booking automatically. Yes, and the estimated duration for this is going to be 1 hour, and the preferred resource. So because these are preventive maintenance, maybe if a preferred technician will know about the location, will know about the customer very well, will know about the asset that that's being serviced. So we can choose a preferred resource to get assigned to this agreement. So I'm going to choose technician 1 as my preferred resource. And when is the preferred start time for this work order to be visited? So I'm going to choose 9 a.m. here. Pre-booking and post-booking facility. So what this does is at the once the work order is created. So let's say if you say like 5 days and then 5 days pre-booking and 5 days post-booking. So that means once it's work order is created and it's due today, so I can schedule this work order 5 days earlier, up to 5 days earlier than the actual date. And I can also, wait to schedule 5 days after the work order date, the booking date is created. So it gives an indication to the scheduler that there is a plus or minus 5 days that people can wait. Okay. So and then time windows start. Sometimes your customer is available only in the morning or in the evening. So based on the customer preferred time, we can set up the time slot. What time to start and what time to end. Between that window, the work order should be completed. So in this case, I'm going to choose 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay. Now here's the important part. So we did all the basic setup here. Now we need to set up the booking recurrence pattern. Set up the frequency. I really love this, the user interface part of it, because this is very similar to Microsoft Outlook meeting schedule, where you set up the recurring meeting. It's pretty similar to that. So in this example, wanted to set up a monthly visit to the customer. So I have an option here to choose monthly. And then I want to choose first day of the month, every 1 month, starting from 8/15 to until next year, 8/14/2021. So I can also set this up without any end date, or I can set up to end by the contract end date. And in addition to that, I can also add custom dates, any specific date, like I said, like before beginning of summer, before beginning of winter. If I need to make a special trip to customer's location, I can choose those dates here. Okay. All right, so I set up the booking recurrence. Now I need to set up, what products and services that I need to that needs to be performed during this visit. Okay, so I'm gonna choose. Let's assume that this is going to be a air filter change in an air conditioning unit. So I'm gonna change a filter, and probably quantity is 1. I want to build this to the client, and my unit cost is about $25. So that's the product that goes along with that work order. So, and then the services that I need to perform is I can choose inspection service that I need to perform. And what are the tasks that needs to be performed during this this visit? Okay, so there are some tasks that I've already set up in the system. So yeah, step 1 is obviously, stop the system. Save. And step 2 is replace the filter. And yeah, step 3 is turn on and test the system. Okay. So those are the products, services, and service tasks that needs to be performed during this this visit. So once I activate this, now if I go to the next step. Okay, so my system status is currently estimate. So I finished all the estimation process and set up the booking recurrence pattern. So now I can activate this agreement. Okay. So then my next step is I need to set up the invoice frequency, like how I did the work order frequency. I need to set up the invoice frequency here. So my invoice could be quarterly. Okay, and then same user interface experience. Choose your monthly, but this time it is going to be it's going to be every 3 months, first day of the month, but every 3 months, starting from 8/15 to 8/14 next year. Okay, so that's pretty much. So you see, my booking setup is monthly visit. My invoice setup is quarterly visit. So I can add as many booking setups as I can. So, during my monthly visit, yeah, I'm going to change the filter. During my quarterly visit, I'm going to do some other service like oil change for a rooftop unit, or maybe, completely change something else. So those are different visit frequencies that I can set up as part of the same agreement. Okay. So now with this booking setup, that's for the 12-month visit, starting from this month to next year. So you could see it system automatically generated the booking dates for the 12 months, because we set up the month as monthly frequency. So I'm going to sort this by booking date. So we said first of the month. So it created the it created the booking for the first of the month. And then if you look at it, 9/1, 10/1, 11/1, and then it just goes on all the way up to, next August. Okay. So now we set up generate work order in advance, 15 days in advance. So there is a job that runs behind the scenes that looks at this booking dates and automatically creates the work order. So let's see if this is already processed. So this is not because you see the work order is blank. So in a scenario where you already set up the booking date, but you wanted to create the work order so we can schedule and dispatch a technician to the customer site. Okay, so if you don't see it, there is an option here to generate the work order. So okay, if I can go to the work order. Yeah, I believe this is the one that got created for the booking. Okay, so once the work order is created, it books to the technician, the preferred technician that we assigned in the work order. So in this case, I have one example that's already set up. So I have this work order that's set up and already assigned to technician 1 for today. So if for some reason, if technician cannot complete this work order, then it gets the schedule gets canceled and it shows up in the open unscheduled work order, and it can be either picked up by RSO or it can be picked up by the dispatcher to schedule to the right technician. So in the earlier session from Deanne and other folks, this pretty eloquently explained like different types of scheduling. So there are many ways you could schedule if the work order is not scheduled. So that will help make sure that all the work orders that are necessary for the preventive maintenance are created and it's available to be scheduled, or system schedules it automatically. So the point here is, we're setting this like ahead of the time. So if it's like a yearly schedule, or it could be like a 2-year contract or 5-year contract. So once you set up the frequency, booking frequency, system automatically creates the work order. So there's no way to miss those work orders. If technician cannot complete it, it'll be in the open work order, and it can be picked up at any time by the scheduler to schedule those work order to a technician. Okay, so that's pretty much. A typical day could be in a field service organization, could be like this. Sorry. Yeah, it could be as busy as this. So, always the preventive maintenance, is given low priority, when compared with the break fix. So when it gets canceled, like I said, it gets assigned to the unscheduled work orders and it can be picked up at a later time. But make sure that, people get to customer site to make sure that the preventive maintenance visit is completed. Okay, so that's pretty much from my side. Any questions?
Doesn't seem to be any. Oh, there we go. So Reza is saying, what's he saying here? Many customers have their work orders actually created in their ERP systems and imported into field service with better scheduling and optimization features. How do you guys see agreements can help in such scenarios?
Okay, that's interesting. We'd like to understand, why work order is created outside a field service system. So But in a situation where if it is created outside, then the work order is created, right? So it gets imported into field service, and then it gets scheduled. So in this case, agreement is set up in the ERP system, so that agreement generates the work order in the ERP system. But field service, D365 field service, also have that feature, so you could start thinking about using the agreement setup in D365.
Okay. So got two other quick questions then. Can you hold multiple assets against one agreement?
Yeah, not at this point. The service task that we set up, it's tied up only to one asset that I see at this point. Maybe it's coming up in future.
Okay, so Phil is asking, have you ever encountered a scenario where preventive maintenance schedules need to be rescheduled? So if a quarterly maintenance needs to be rescheduled, sorry Phil, I'm not getting, do you want to ask that? Do you want to unmute yourself, Phil, and just ask that? I'm not getting the example there.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we can skip to the next question.
Oh, no, there we go.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Cole.
Yeah, it's just if you've got a quarterly service that is done late, and you've got, say, monthly services that would happen normally every month after that quarterly service, so like the dependencies between the two levels of service, that scenario really.
I think you're on mute, Raj.
Oh, yeah, I was on mute. I said, sorry, I'm not following. Can you repeat the question again? Can you explain the scenario if you don't mind?
Yeah, so just quickly, because I think we're at time, but I'll take this offline with you, so I don't want to use up other people's time.
Sure, yeah, ping me. Yeah, I can help you to answer this question. So okay. I already see Ben replied to the next question.
Yep. That's fine. We will wrap up there. Do you want to just share all of your social media and how people can get in contact with you, and then we can all jump on to the dual track where we can ask Mr. Vollmer lots of awkward questions.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, thanks. See you all on the dual track.
Yep.